Welcome to the Shut Up and Work podcast. I am your host, the coach, and today I am solo. So, with that being said, I want to talk to you about some of the characteristics of an authoritarian or authoritative or dictator type manager. And I want to provide you some tips on how to deal with this type of manager. So, first, I will define him and then I'll talk about how to look out for those characteristics and how to identify them. And then last, I will speak on how do you deal with them if you're stuck in your current job. So with that being said, let's jump right into the mix. First, defining them. Authoritative managers have total decision making power and absolute control over their employees. And if they don't have it, they're striving to get it. Also, they value themselves and the company profits above the employees' well being. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, simply, they don't want to hear about anything going on with the employees. They don't care if you have a sick family member or if you are sick or have something you need to take care of, or just even good news things. Hey, your son got into college, or hey, you built something at home. You built a deck that you've been working on for months. You went to a baseball or a football game. They only want to discuss work topics, and they're probably going to be looking at you or talking to you in the tone of, why in the hell are you not out there doing the job? They only care about the job and pushing production. All right. So that's the definition of authoritative managers. Now, how may you identify? What are some keys to say, if you haven't discovered yet that your manager is authoritative or anything in that nature? Well, first thing you got to understand is these managers are bloodthirsty for power and they thrive to tell others what to do. And what I'm meaning by that is these managers, they love it. You could see it in their face when they have to come up and confront you about something that you may have did, no matter how minor or minute it is. They just love coming up, throwing it in your face, and they put a little bit of attitude behind it. You can hear in their voice as they try to command you and tell you what you did wrong. Second, they want to make all the decisions without the input from others, including upper management or employees that are committed to overseeing. And what goes on with that a lot of times when you see that, that again tells you, just like the first thing that you're identifying, that bloodthirstiness that they want to do. And they also love it, love it, love it, love it to take credit for things that you may have came up with or your coworker may have came up with. They love to run to upper management and say, I did it. This was my idea. This was my creation. So you cannot win with these managers. And I want to give you another example of their decision making. When I worked for the Army Corps of Engineers a few years ago, upper management has stated that Mondays and Fridays, you were allowed, if the supervisor approved, you are allowed to telework from home, meaning you didn't have to come into the workplace. And this was well before COVID. This was around 2013, 2014 timeframe. The job had issued all the employees laptops and a government cell phone. So as long as you had your laptop up and was working on Mondays and Fridays, and also your phone had to be up from your normal work hours and you were answering your phone, the head bosses didn't see any problem with this. But the supervisor that I had, he made sure he stood up in the meeting over all the other supervisors. And he made it damn clear that,
Oh no, the people in my office, they're coming to work Monday through Friday.
so we never got to take advantage, but the other offices, if they couldn't come in on a Monday or Friday or whatever, they were able to telework from home and they didn't have to use any of their leave time. So that pretty much sucks for me. Third thing is you have no room to grow under. Is your boss always, with their overinflated ego, they're always trying to hammer your ideas down? Anytime you come to them to try to make work better, or it seems that you come up with a better process of what you could do in the meeting, do they immediately just shoot you down and kind of make fun of you at the same time?
That's stupid. Why would we want to do this way?
You know, that type of attitude. Yeah, there's no room because this type of supervisor does not want anybody with that type of knowledge or to be smarter or have more intelligence working under them and surpass them. So that's why they do that with that ego. And they want to be the gatekeeper to upper management and tell them that, hey, your ideas were dumb, you're stupid, or why don't they just get rid of you or move you to another department? So that's another characteristic things you may have dealt with at your job. Now that I kind of went over some ways that you might identify, now we're going to talk about how you deal with them once you've identified that you have an authoritarian or dictator type boss. So the first thing you want to do is keep a time stamp record, or as they call it, a paper trail of anything you do with this boss, especially when it comes to making a critical decision on the job. So any little dealings, if you see that, hey, you're working on a project and there's a problem that's about to arise, or there's going to be a lot of questioning and stuff going on, if you are emailing the boss or if they're in the meeting or whatever, you want to make sure you get a record of that. You record it one way or another, whether you're writing it down, whether you are recording it in an email and sending it out to the boss. And even if you go to a meeting, some meetings, some companies have a sign in sheet. Ask for a copy of it, especially if your boss is attending that meeting, because that way, when something happens, they can't come back and point the finger at you, because you can come back and say, hey, my boss was at that meeting. Here's the email, or here's the sign in sheet with his or her name on there. So that's the thing that you want to have. Second, I know y'all are going to hate this, but communication is key. Now, I just talked about recording it on some type of paper or email or whatever. You're going to have to talk to this boss. I know it makes you cringe that, damn, I got to go in here and tell my boss this or that. And I know they're going to act a damn fool with me. They're going to probably curse at me. They're going to tell me to get the hell out of the office, whatever in that situation. Any important decision has to be made, especially if you have this type of boss. You don't want any surprises coming up to that boss, because if he or she, that authoritative boss, finds out something at the last minute, they are going to punish you at the highest extent possible to that company policy. They are going to try to hold you accountable, and they're going to try to write you up, and they may possibly try to fire you depending on that situation. Once again, you want to make sure that you inform your boss of any situations. Talk to that boss if you can, then go back to the first thing, which is trying to send an email or write it down on paper or whatever in that situation. Because as soon as something happens, it's going to be the he said, she said scenario. And guess what? If it's between you and the boss, more than likely they're going to take the boss's side. All right. Third thing, don't be the sole participant in any situation where an important decision has to be made. If something is going on, like I said in number two, if you have to approach your boss and you know they're going to go off in the tirade, then if you have other coworkers that notice that the boss is an asshole or is difficult to deal with, make sure they're in the presence to witness what goes down. Hey, the boss cussed Don out. The boss threw papers at Jane when she asked him about what's going on with this project. Make sure somebody is in your presence. And if you are sending an email, hey, blind courtesy copy a couple of your coworkers who know how the boss is acting and if he or she is overstepping and not doing their job the proper way. So don't be the sole participant in that situation. Fourth, don't be afraid to go to your boss's boss. Hey, when you've tried everything, you tried verbally going in office and trying to be professional and communicate in the face. You've tried sending emails, letting your boss know. You even have witnesses. Now it's time to find out who your boss's boss is and go to that boss. Now, here's the key. If you approach your boss's boss in that situation, don't go in there screaming and just venting out and saying, "Oh my God, John is just such an asshole to me and difficult to work with, and he's making my job." Don't tell him all the bad things. This is how you want to approach it if you want upper management to take action against your immediate boss. You want them to look at you as a concerned employee to where you want the company to grow. You want the company to succeed. You want all the employees to be happy. You want all the management jobs to be easier. So when you go in there and talk to the boss, you want to word things like your boss doesn't see how the company can be more innovative. You want to bring up things that your boss doesn't see how the company can be more competitive against other competitors in their line of work. And you want to go in there presenting to his boss, hey, if we do this, we can streamline the work. We can do this faster. We can reach our customers better. We can gain more customers this way. That's how you want to approach your boss's boss. And that's how you want to tell them what your boss is lacking. So that way, your boss's boss will start looking at it at a situation like, maybe we don't have the right guy. Maybe him or her is too old fashioned. So that's how you want to approach them and show them the emails. Hey, I told them this, or hey, we can have more meetings. We can have more production meetings or get employees involved in this. That's how you want to talk to them. See, is that you care about the company as an employee and you want to see the company grow and expand and be number one, be the top company that everybody chooses, whoever are the customers or constituents or whatever. So that's how you do that. So, with that being said, I've just told you, I defined what an authoritative manager was, and I defined how you can kind of identify how they act in those situations. And then I told you about how you can deal with them on a daily basis. Now, what I would like from you out there, all my subscribers and other people who plan on subscribing or listening to this video, please, in the comments section, drop your thoughts. Drop the ways that you identify authoritarian boss and how you deal with them on a daily basis or how you have dealt with them in the past. with that being said, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel and pass the word on, as it will help us grow. I'm out of here. Y'all take care and have a wonderful day. Peace.